Welcome everyone to another Destiny 2 Renegades build, and today I'm bringing you the build I promised yesterday in my Graviton Forfeit video, a build all around the brand new machine gun Service of Luzaku. Service of Luzaku is the brand new exotic from the rewards pass. You get it at obviously the first tier, and it's catalyst all the way up at tier 90. And if you haven't seen this thing already or what it does, just know you're in for a surprise, because this thing is super cool. Before we get into things, just want to give a disclaimer. This video will contain absolutely no campaign spoilers, so you do not have to worry about that. I won't post really anything spoilerish for at least a week till after the DLC, so you do not have to worry about that for the rest of the video. So yeah, just like all of my brand new exotic based builds, this build is all around showing off what the weapon can do. The build I created for you today is just here to really boost Service of Luzaku and make it the main component of the build. I want everything to be based around what this weapon can do, just so we can show it off as much as possible. With that being said though, I was able to use this build throughout my entire campaign experience, and that obviously was done on legendary, so you can use this in somewhat difficult content. I'm not going to tell you go use this weapon in any type of, day one raid or anything, because I'm gonna be honest, spoiler alert, it's not the best of weapons. It's not bad by any means, but it's definitely not going to be, groundbreaking meta transforming weapon. The build for the weapon I have is on strand, and my entire thought process on this build was, let me create something that basically makes it where you can take your hands off the controller, off the mouse and keyboard, and everything will do the work for you. For those of you who don't know, the Service of Luzaku machine gun basically just has an exotic perk where it creates, think of it as like threadling turrets, where every couple of seconds shoots out threadlings. I then took that idea and expanded upon it to make it where we have a whole bunch of threadlings on the field doing damage for us. I have it where we have Beyblades on the field doing damage for us. I have it where we have a clone taking aggro and as well doing damage for us. All set up in a way that as long as you have everything on the field at once, you can stand still, do absolutely nothing, and everything will die around you. All in all, I had a lot of fun creating it and even more fun using it, so I hope you guys enjoyed as well. As always, I have a Mobalytics link in the description with the build, but for now, let's go ahead and break down everything for you. So first things first, let's go over the whole reason I'm making this build, and that is for the brand new exotic LMG from the reward pass, the Service of Luzaku. First of all, I just want to give a shout out to the design team, because this thing looks so insane. I absolutely love how this looks. But it comes with the exotic trait dichotomous thinking, where hitting targets with this weapon will build up a restorative charge, and hip firing at allies while this weapon is charged will heal them, will not use ammo, and will fill the weapon's magazine from reserves. Rapid healing increases weapon damage and spawns threadlings from your allies, but the main really cool thing that we're using this weapon for is the trait up here called meaning making. This makes it where final blows with this weapon will create a threadling nest that will periodically spawn threadlings, and final blows with this weapon near any threadling nest will actually create additional threadlings. So I know that was a very long description. What does any of it mean? Well, here I'll show you. So if we get a kill with the weapon, it'll go ahead and create this thing called a teaming nest. And as you can see, it'll just eventually send out and hatch little threadlings. Now, what we can do is after getting some damage done with it and building up our little restorative charge, just like any of our healing ARs, we can hip fire at the actual nest and it'll heal it and make its little cooldown timer thing go back up. And like it mentioned before, as you rapidly heal, it'll actually send out additional threadlings. Obviously, you can use the healing not just on your nests, but on your teammates. But for this instance and probably the rest of the video, I'm playing solo, so I'm just going to use it on the nests. Another thing to note is that if you do end up getting kills next to the nest, so if we go and create another nest down there, because they are based on range, it will go ahead and create a threadling from the person you kill as long as they're standing next to the nest. And honestly, that in my opinion is what can make this weapon really good in terms of dense situations, is because when you do end up creating that, as long as you're getting kills right next to it, it'll send out a threadling on every single kill, which will then chain basically over and over and over again to just wipe out any area of enemies. And then eventually, once you reach rank 90 in the season pass, you'll unlock the weapon's catalyst. This just makes it where your nest will mature over time, and once the nest is fully matured, you can hold your interact button and grant yourself a tangle. Now, in terms of our exotic of choice, we're going to go with the pretty unpopular option, and that is going to be the Moray. I know a lot of people don't really like this exotic, and neither really do I, but I think it fits the theme and kind of the brand of this LMG extremely well. In my opinion, the main part of it is those threadling nests, which kind of work as some sort of autonomous build where you have things fight for you and do damage for you. And so I figured using Moray plus the Beyblade aspect that Strand has kind of also serves that benefit. So I can have a whole bunch of nests out on the field at once, shooting out threadlings, but I can also have 2 Beyblade tangles out doing damage as well. For those of you who don't know what Moray does, it just makes it where whenever you throw your threaded spike melee at a tangle, it will then return the melee back to you, and as long as you grab that threaded spike, you will then be holding the tangle. We are going to obviously be pairing this up with the goated strand aspect whirling maelstrom. This makes it where whenever you do end up destroying a tangle, it will release a violent writhing mass of strand fibers. Long story short, they're just using fancy words to describe a giant like spinning Beyblade of a tangle. So when combined with the handy dandy Moray, this is what it looks like. You throw your melee at it, it'll explode it, catch the melee. I now have 2 Beyblades out at once. And that combined with the 2 teaming nests, I can kind of just sit back, relax, and let them do all the work. Now, when it comes to the rest of the subclass, I kind of built it for the same kind of interaction where I have things do the work for me instead of doing it myself, if that makes any type of sense. So first things first, we're going to go with our other strand aspect. We're going to use Threaded Spectre in this build. This makes it where whenever you use your class ability, you'll leave a clone behind you, which will take aggro from the enemies. So if I go ahead and use my dodge, it'll leave a clone, and then all the enemies will start shooting at the clone instead of me. This is really good because the clone will obviously also create threadlings, but it'll give us a chance to kind of have everything shoot at that while we're pumping Beyblades and threadlings via our nests into the enemies. From there, for our grenade, to fit the theme even more, we're going to go with Threadling Grenade so we can spawn even more little minions on the battlefield. But in all honesty, feel free to run whatever you prefer. Then for our dodge, we're going to want Gambler's Dodge just so we have our melee up as much as possible so that we can actually use Moray to duplicate our tangles. Now for our fragments, we're going to use Thread of Generation. This makes it where whenever you deal damage, you generate grenade energy. This is great to get our threadlings back. And obviously our threadlings plus whirling mainstream will pretty much continuously deal damage so that we are always proccing Thread of Generation. We're also then going to run Thread of Warding. This is the standard go-to fragment on every strand build. Make sure whenever you grab an orb of power, you get yourself Woven Mail, which I believe is a 45% damage reduction. We're also then going to run Thread of Rebirth, which is pretty self-explanatory. Strand weapon final blows will have a chance to create a threadling. We want as many threadlings on the field as much as possible, so this will help with that. We're also going to run Thread of Evolution. This will just basically increase the amount of damage our threadlings will do and also allow them to attack further distances. And last but not least, we're going to run Thread of Fury, where damaging targets with a tangle will grant you melee energy. Obviously, we're going to hopefully at all times have roughly 2 Beyblades up at once, which does count as tangle damage, meaning that we can recharge our melee over and over again as long as we have our Beyblades up. So basically just to show you what this build can do whenever you do have nests out and Beyblades and stuff, it'll look something like this. You obviously want to create your clones. From there, you kind of just want the threadlings and Beyblades to take their course. Remember to heal your teaming nests, which surprisingly the healing range on this has good range. But as you can see, I barely shot my weapon there and everything else kind of did the job for me, which was the intent of this build. Now, in terms of weapons to pair with service of Luzaku, it's kind of up to you. There isn't really a clear option. I'm just running an Unfall just for nice little damage, and I have Lead from Gold, which just makes it where I should never run out of ammo since I'm using my heavy pretty much all the time. And then I do recommend in the primary slot running some sort of strand weapon. I'm just running all or nothing just because it's new, so why not have some fun with the new weapons? But in all honesty, run whatever you want because you are going to be using the service of Luzaku basically as your primary weapon in this build. Now for artifact mods, I don't have everything unlocked because the DLC is pretty fresh and I've been too busy making builds and videos to really go and get some XP. But basically the most important mod in this entire thing for this build is going to be Elemental Siphon. This is what's going to allow us to create tangles. We can create tangles currently in the build by using our melee, but we don't really want to go for kills with our melee per se because we want to save it to duplicate the tangles so that we can create more Beyblades. So this is going to be our best option. This makes it where whenever you get rapid final blows with strand weapons in this instance, it will create pickups that matches our equip super, which for us will be tangles. From there, unfortunately for this weapon and this build, there aren't really any other artifact perks that will benefit us, so just feel free to slot in absolutely whatever you want. But honestly, none of these really are going to have an effect for this build. Now for your stats, you're just going to want a high grenade stat, so you can go ahead and spam your threading grenade as much as possible. And then same for your class stat. You want this as high as possible so that you can obviously spam your clones over and over again. Having some sort of high melee is great so that when you use your Gambler's Dodge, you will get your full ability back. Then other than that, maybe high weapons just so your service of Luzaku can do more damage. But yeah, the rest is up to you. Now for mods on our helmet, we're going to want 2 copies of Heavy Ammo Finder. and 1 copy of Harmonic Siphon. On the arms, you're going to want a copy of Firepower and Heavy-Handed, and then throw on Focusing Strike. On the chest piece, throw on 2 copies of Harmonic Ammo Generation and Concussive Dampener. And then on the boots, we're going to run 2 copies of Strand Weapon Surge and Innervation. And then last but not least, on the cloak, run Time Dilation, Reaper, and Bomber. Basically, just to sum up what these mods do, it makes it where whenever we get to Strand Weapon Final Blows, kills with our grenade, kills with our melee, or kills after dodging, we will create an Orb of Power. Grabbing that Orb of Power will then boost how much our Strand Weapons are doing. And then other than that, we are running multiple ammo mods just so we never run out of ammo on our service of Luzaku. But yeah, that right there was the entire build. I hope you understood and got the gist of what I was going for with this specific build. This weapon has been a lot of fun, and building for it was kind of hard. I had to kind of really think out of the box for what I wanted to do with this. So I actually ended up liking the result. But for now, let's actually go ahead and take this build into some live gameplay for you. All right, so for the build today, we're gonna go ahead and take this into the solo ops creation, and we're gonna be on Grandmaster difficulty here, where we are 25 light under. All right, so when using this weapon, really the key notes you need to be aware of is just make sure you always have the nest up. After you have the nest up, just make sure you are trying to heal it, obviously, as much as possible, not just so that you can keep it up at all times, but so that you are creating, you know, threadlings from the rapid healing that I mentioned before. And then obviously, oh, I walked into that laser. But obviously, whenever you do see a tangle, try to throw your threaded spike at it so that you can create multiple Beyblades all at once. From there, your ability to regeneration should keep going, and you should be able to spam your abilities pretty frequently, including your clone, allowing you to basically just walk around, do whatever you want while everyone shoots your clone, and your threadlings and Beyblades go to work. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Grab some orbs, get some woven mails so you can have a little bit of DR. Does that reach? Oh, it does. Beautiful. Then we can throw this over here. And yeah, now we just kind of like sit back and just capture the plate and do what we want. See, like, I'm just going to hands off the keyboard and mouse. I'm just going to let everything else do its job for me. We're going to heal that up again. Duplicate that. Catch it once again. Hands off of the keyboard and mouse. One thing too that I thought was going to be a bigger deal when it comes to using this weapon is the ammo situation, but surprisingly this thing doesn't really run through ammo as you would think, and I think that's mainly just because you don't really use it to shoot enemies too often. Like, obviously you create the nest, and then after that you kind of just use it to heal the nest over and over again. But other than that, I don't really run into ammo problems, which I totally was expecting from a build that uses your heavy as a primary. All right, I did equip a sniper just to deal with anti-barriers. All right, heal that back up so it creates more threadlings. All right, beautiful. All right, for this, we can actually pretty easily just stay up here and let our nests do the work because, yeah, the range is far enough that we can create multiple nests. Well, I do need to drop down so I can be within healing range, which we will go ahead and do for this. And then we'll just lay into it with the rest of our heavy. All right, actually, I want to create a teaming nest with that kill. It spawned it under the thing? Interesting. I didn't catch that in time. That's unfortunate. Regardless, on that, we'll create a clone since we're weak. And our heavy should just be able to take care of the rest. Yeah, there we go. All right, open the fight by creating a nest. And then we'll just spam our abilities from there. Actually, I should open up with a clone. That's on me. No, how did I miss a point blank tangle? Okay, well, we'll move on from that. Don't forget to heal that over and over again, obviously. There we go. I did not miss that tangle. Can I heal from here? I can. All right, that was the first DBS check already. I feel like I didn't really do anything there. I didn't really shoot the boss too much. I guess this specific nest went crazy. I want to stun him directly on it. Yeah, there we go. Heal that a bit. Will that reach? Please let that catch up to the wyvern. I don't think it will. All right, creating a clone on that. That's for sure. I think I want to make it my goal to keep this nest up with me this entire boss fight because I've had him here this whole time. I want to finish it with him. All right, that should do it, right? Yeah, there we go. I even created a nest by killing him. That's funny. Okay. All right, so yeah, that right there was the new Service of Luzaku build. Please let me know your opinions on this weapon down below, because I think it is very unique. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best exotic ever. I wouldn't say it's bad though. On the other hand, it's just, it has its niche, and if you play into that niche, it can be pretty fun. I haven't seen any other people's opinions on this thing yet, or really what they think of it to know if it's extremely good in high end, other than what I've tested. But yeah, I don't think this gun's gonna be meta anytime soon. But I hope you try out the build. If you do want to try out the build, there's a link to the build in the description, just so you can go check it out there and copy everything to your inventory yourself, so you don't have to do it manually. And if you do try it out, please feel free to let me know how you feel down below. And if you have any changes that you made to it, also comment that down below. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. If you made it this far, I love your face, and all you fine ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day.